I've done videos on, is there hope after the affair and how to manage all this other stuff. But the stark reality is that not every marriage will survive an affair. I mean, it's the truth. It's sad, but it's true. And to be honest with you, there are some marriages that probably need to dissolve. And it's probably best for both parties if the marriage does not survive. So if you're watching this and you're in a situation where you're having to separate, you've made a choice to separate, or he's asked to separate, or whatever, stay tuned. Let's talk about the steps you need to take to do this in a healthy way and what you can expect moving forward. Stay tuned. A separation is hard. I've been separated twice, and both times the intention was to get a divorce. We didn't separate with the intention to reconcile. The intention, I mean, we were filing papers. I mean, we were doing what we were doing, okay? And I know how painful that is. I know how painful it is when he packs up his things and he vacates the house and his closet's empty, and you have to deal with visitation with the kids, and you're dealing with legal stuff and money and all of this. So on top of the trauma and the pain and the grief of the affair, now there's another layer of grief. Because if the marriage is ending, then you're having to process, process that on top of, in addition to, processing the affair grief. So first and foremost, in any separation situation, take a long, hard look at the boundaries you need to set. Because for you to take steps forward in a healthy way, you've got to be protected. So if he moves out, for instance, what are the boundaries you need to set up with your home? Is he allowed just to come and go and open the front door whenever he wants to and come over and hang out? I mean, what are the rules there? Because if you're trying to distance yourself from him so you can heal and really separate so you can be on your own 2 feet and away from the marriage so you can grieve properly, you may not want him breezing by whenever he wants to come over. You may want to set parameters. Now, this is something that you need to decide what's best for you, but it is okay after you've determined, okay, I think it's okay for him to come by for one family dinner a week on such and such a night. It's okay to go talk to him about it. I mean, if this is one of those things that's being done in a very conciliatory way, if you want to talk to him and say, hey, it's okay if you have dinner with us once a week. I'm thinking this night, is that okay with you? It's okay to do it together, but your first step is to do it alone. What is best for you? Okay, I'm doing these videos for you. So what is best for you? If Wednesday night is best for you, and you're going to stick to that, stick to that. But be clear with him that this is what you need. And you, even if you have to have it written in your legal documents, have it written in your legal documents. Change the locks on the house. Keep him at arm's length. When he comes and spends time with the kids, depending on their ages, work out a way where you don't really have to have a lot of contact. Whatever's easiest for you to deal moving forward, set those appropriate boundaries. Okay. You can even go as far, I've had some folks go as far as, if you don't have children, stick to text and email. If you don't want to talk to him on the phone and you don't have to see him in person for anything, or you don't have kids living at the house, for instance, if you need that time to really separate yourself from him, figure out what that is, put that in writing, set your boundaries. So I really think that's step one if you're separating. Because once those boundaries are in place, you can just breathe, you can relax, and really start doing that work on you. If you do not have a counselor or a coach you're working with right now, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to have someone. When I was separated, I saw my counselor every week. I needed that. I was going crazy. It was really hard for me. Now, the second separation wasn't as hard. The first separation was to separate myself from him, to be independent, to be myself, to not think about him 24/7 or long for his presence or whatever. The first separation was really, really hard. So I understand how difficult this is. So number one is boundaries. So give yourself that space. Number two, make sure you're working with somebody if you're able. All right. And the third thing I would highly recommend is get a really good attorney. I have a client who really had a hard time. She hired a really, it was a bulldog attorney, okay? One of those that's getting in there and getting you everything you deserve, which is good, but this attorney was sending threatening letters to, her soon-to-be ex's attorney that she didn't approve, that she didn't know anything about. And so she would get these angry emails and texts from her soon-to-be ex-husband saying, what is this? Why am I getting this? It is so important. Get references for the attorney you want to use. Find an attorney who somebody you know has used or knows somebody who used them and really had a good experience. You need an attorney that is going to get you what you deserve out of this financially, all the assets and all the debts split equally, all that kind of stuff. Somebody who's going to look out for your best interest, but is not going to do something underhanded or go or be the kind of person who's going to be pushy with you to make you go after your husband for something you're not comfortable going after. Okay, do your homework, get good recommendations, really step into this, because they're just like anything. There are great attorneys out there, and then there are attorneys that we're like, oh, no, we don't need to be hiring those people. So do your homework, get a really good attorney. And kind of on a side note to the attorney concept is, I really want you to understand, you might be the nicest person on the planet. I'm sure you are. And you don't want to hurt your husband. But every state has laws regarding, divorce. Almost every state, I think, is a 50-50 split. And some states are a no-fault state, like my state. However, in my state, when it comes to infidelity, you can sue for more alimony. Do your homework. I'm not saying go after him for everything he's got. I mean, you don't want him to be homeless, but do your homework and do what's best for you. All right, so if you're facing separation and you've got all this stuff going on, really think about that. Okay, so in addition to the three things I just offered up, let's talk about the anxiety and the fear you're experiencing. This is opening up the door to a new chapter of our lives. When we separate, we're looking at a future we don't recognize. At the time, the second time I was separated was after I'd been married for 20 years. So 20 years of my life with the same person, and I couldn't imagine life with a different person. I couldn't imagine what single life, dating. I don't even know how to I don't even know how to walk into anything like that. There are so many fears that we have, and of course that generates all this anxiety. So if you have a lot of this anxiety right now, if you were struggling and you're like, I look at my future and I'm thinking, oh, whoa, I can't even imagine what to do with this. I can't even imagine what dating is like. If you're struggling with this, am I going to be able to pay my bills? And can I financially get through this? Am I going to have to get a small apartment? What is this going to look like? Are my kids going to be able to go to college? There's so many things wrapped up in this because we're splitting assets. We're separating. We're going to have to pay for 2 homes now. How is that going to work? All the tools I've given on this channel for how to get out of a spiral, how to be present in the moment, all those things, and how to manage your anxiety, go back and watch those videos. The same concept applies. You just have to figure out how to be here and not worry so much about tomorrow, and not to spiral on thoughts of yesterday, but to be present, like right here, right now. What's your next step? That was probably, I read this article, and believe it or not, it's Joss Whedon, from Avengers. Joss Whedon. Anyway, he wrote this great, somebody interviewed him and wrote an article about how he's productive, because he has so many different things going on, so many projects he was directing or whatever. And I was reading this article just for fun, but it really hit me because he talked about every day he's always asking the question, what is my next step? And I've actually incorporated a lot of this into my coaching because I think it's so helpful. When we ask ourselves, what is our next step? It makes us micro focus on the now. It makes us take kind of a temperature check. Okay, if I'm trying to decide what my next step is, I have to know where I am to know where I'm going. So it pulls us out of the past, it pulls us to the present, and then when we're talking about a next step, it's very careful not to pull us too far to the future. For instance, in the case of separation, let's say you've contacted the attorney, you have your appointment, and you're feeling a lot of anxiety. Ask yourself, what is my next step? Then you're having to think, okay, I have the appointment, what now? Well, maybe your next step is to go and pull your financial documents together so that you're prepared for this meeting. That's your next step. And you stop there. You stop there. You do not plan out 14 steps. You say, what is my next step? And then you work in that direction. So kind of use that, okay? When you're feeling anxious, when you're so worried about the future, you can't even fathom what your life is going to look like after this, don't waste that energy. Focus your energy on what is my next step. And then once you do that next step, guess what you do then? Now, what is my next step? And you just keep moving forward. Before you know it, you will have journeyed all through a very painful situation, one step at a time. There's so much more I could probably talk about, but I'm going to stop here. I try to keep these videos at a, a digestible length. So I may do another to go further into that. And if you'd like me to really explore this a little more to help those of you who are facing separation and divorce, make a comment below, and I'll be, and kind of give me your specific question. Like, what do you want me to talk about? And I'll do a follow-up with this. But I do hope this has been helpful to you, and I'm so sorry if you're watching this and you're facing this. I know your pain. I really do. I know how awful it is. And I know the fear that you're experiencing and the anxiety. So I'm very sorry. And I want to help you through that. Again, I'm a master certified coach. I'd love a chance to work with you. Right below this video are free links. The first one's a free video I created just to help you guys through affair recovery in general. And the second one's a free guide. You may not need those if you're in a situation where you're separating. But if you click on the video one, there's a link to contact me and set up a free session. There is absolutely no obligation when you get on a call with me. I literally do some coaching with you right there on the phone. And if I'm not what you're looking for as far as someone to help you through this journey, that's totally fine. But I would love an opportunity to talk with you, especially since you're going through such a hard time. So make sure you click that first link. I do have a Facebook group for wives who are staying, but again, if you're watching this right now and you're separating, you may not want to join it, but if you do, feel free to do that. We do have women in our group in that situation, so you can click that third link below this video. Again, I'm sorry you're going through this, but I can assure you, because I have experienced it myself, and I know people who have actually ended up with divorce. I didn't. We reconciled, but I have friends who have divorced and gone on and been super happy, and some have remarried to the man of their dreams. So there is hope on the other side of this. There is a joy on the other side of this. You just have to kind of get through the murk, okay? So thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best and everything you're working through.